Right. Anyway, sorry. Oh, okay. This is a scrim. Oh no, it's you guys are six
Yeah,
stacking.
no, it's a scrim.
Oh, it's the match. It's the match, right?
I think it's a scrim.
You guys scrimmed out the code?
It's. I think. Wait, I don't remember. This was last week.
Oh,
It's either scrim or a match from a collegiate, but it's like a 3.18.
okay.
Attackers incoming in 30 seconds.
All right. I only have like 20 minutes ish, so sorry. We might have to like run through this real quick.
Match should be shortish.
Should be short. Okay.
Five, four,
Yeah.
All right. Have we done a Reinhardt review ever? I don't think we have.
Yeah, we haven't.
Okay.
So, just a disclaimer. I started playing Reinhardt on scrims. I had zero Reinhardt experience before,
Oh, okay.
so I'm still learning.
Yeah. No worries.
Yeah.
Have you watched like the previous stuff I was doing earlier? You were, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so you've
When I
already
could,
heard
yeah.
all of that stuff already, right?
Mostly. I was like in and out.
Apparently today was main tank day.
Yeah, I noticed.
Alright, if you see that McCree on high ground, either just like walk under him to cut off his escape, or just like straight up start walking up there. Push him out. This McCree can't stay up there, right? You can't let him stay, right? And if you happen to catch him on his way down, even better, right? Because most McCrees won't stay up here, right? While there's other stuff going on, right? So, like, do you see how you backed up here for a second? This is kind of a minor thing, but like, just understand that like, killing squishies is nice, so we want to kill squishies.
I think I saw that kind of late. I should have seen it right there. I think I just
Yeah, I mean, you know the McCree's here, and then
cut
you
off
stop,
forward.
right?
Yeah,
Like, you realize the McCree's there, and now he's dropping. But imagine if you were coming in here with speed, right? You'd just be so dead, right?
that's true.
Nathan.
Oh, this Mystics guy is pretty good.
I see.
He's like a 4-4, 4-5 junk one trick.
So, I strongly encourage you, if your team is taking this high ground as part of your strat, to go this way.
Go up.
Yeah, because your team gets off angle pressure from here, and they're very hard to push, right? Because the way to push you is either going back into spawn, right? And oh god, and then coming up the stairs, right? Or crossing in front of you, right? In front of your team to get to high ground, right? So once your team is here, they're basically impossible to dislodge, right? Sort of like Tracer or Echo, right? So if they're running like this junk Creed, they're basically never going to get here, right? So at that point, pushing the same angle as your team loses a lot of value, right?
Yeah, definitely.
So instead, like, I know there's spam coming this direction, but as soon as you gain control of this, right, wait for your Lucio, obviously, and then just push around. But this is like a losing proposition most of the time, and your team loses a lot of value, right? That's not you. That's not you. Okay, there we go. Oh, almost outplayed.
Oh, I thought we would have lost the fight, so I was just doing it, but we actually got fixed.
Yeah. That's why extending into a choke is very bad.
Yeah.
Alright. So, you hear the McCree. I guess you can't hear him because the God is muted, unfortunately. But anyways, the McCree's above you, right? Where'd he go, actually?
Calling that out. Wait,
Oh, he went
is he
underneath.
under? Yeah, he's in the mini probably.
Oh, interesting. But
Yeah,
like
yeah.
that's something to watch out for. Is like once you lose control, this is the number one flake 9 times out of 10, right? Always got to keep an eye on it, right? And like call it to your team.
I think we were calling it out.
Yeah, looks like your team's on it. So
We get held on this like choke the whole game, basically.
all right. So when your team has high ground control, right? Not really, but when your team should have high ground control, right? You want to give ground here, because if your team is here, right, it's kind of hard to help you, right? Here, right? Like you can get BAP help, right? And you are, but your team doesn't really have a concave, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
So when you back up, you want to create a concave. So you want to back up like this, so that way your Zarya on the angle gets to do damage, and that way when your team eventually wins control of the high ground, they're shooting in the back, right?
Like, what do you mean? Like, I should be like hugging left side more? Like,
Just
or is it
backing up
back up?
earlier, yeah. Because
Oh, okay,
you
okay.
try to contest them here, right? And if you look at what they have to shoot at, all of them except McCree, right, have literally nothing else to shoot at, right? Except you,
Definitely shield.
right? Obviously,
Yeah.
your team is also responding, which makes it worse, right? Which gives you even more reason to back up, right? But like these people have like nothing else to shoot at except you, right? So what you want to
Like
do,
the
and
problem with
your team
mine.
has nothing else to shoot at except the Rein as well, right? And that's why you want to like create that situation longer where you're not getting shot at, but their Rein is, right? And that's how you buy time in order to outplay their Rein, right? The reason why this Rein died here when you didn't, right, is you guys were swinging each other the whole time, but you got some healing, and your team was also did some damage to the Rein, and you came out like 300 HP ahead, right? Like this stuff really, really matters, right? Because their Rein was here, their team was dying over here to like the Doom and your Ashe, right? And you and the Rein were just kind of trading and getting incidental damage from your team, right? It adds up really fast. So the like just a second or two of not taking damage from their Rein or from their team while their Rein's taking damage from your team really matters. Like you can kind of trade on your way out, right? Just don't take the enemy team's damage as well, you know?
Yeah, that's like a problem of mine. I think against like worse Ryans, basically, I think I do that like myself, but against like better players, I kind of struggle.
Yeah, I mean, part of just being better at Rein is
Okay.
doing this like consistently against better players, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Right. Like against bad Reins, right? It's super easy for you to just like kite the Rein and make him do dumb things, right? But when you're the worst Rein, it's super easy for you to be that Rein, right? So you want to make sure that you're never that Rein, right? Unless you absolutely have to get your team in, right? Like this forces your immo, right? Your team's winning because Jason won the high ground, right? He won the high ground fight, so now he gets to do whatever. Actually, he lost it and killed him anyways. Okay, never mind. But the point is, like, they lost their high ground control. They no longer have concave, so now you're allowed to do whatever you want, really. Right? Oh, sad day. Did he get? Wow, it only gets one leg. Interesting. Taking high control for your team. That's good. All right, so this example. Oh, go ahead.
Trying to think like where should I be? Like we haven't screened this map a lot.
Yep.
So like where should I be like positioned here?
Am I lagging
at
or are
the
you
start of the
lagging?
fight? It's fine for me, so maybe I'm.
Oh,
lagging.
it's no, it's working. Your voice is clear now. Okay, so in ideal world, this would be your Lucio and Cart, and your BAP up here, right, to support you, right? And what was your question? Sorry,
I didn't realize our map wasn't card. Okay, what would I be like holding in ideal scenario?
in ideal
On
scenario,
this high
you would just
ground?
hold right here. You know why you would hold right here?
Because they can't shoot like from the right. Just there's only one angle for them to come in to shoot me.
They have one
basically.
angle to come in, and in order to look at you, what are they not looking at?
The rest of my team.
The rest of your team, who are generally speaking, will be taking other angles, right? Alternatively, you can play here as long as the rest of your team is on generally on this half of the map, right? But generally, you want to play here because this is also a route they can take, right? So you want to be sort of like the pivot point, right?
Makes sense.
So this is generally your spot. Your Zarya will play like over here, right? Your Ashe can play wherever she wants, really, just somewhere else that's not directly stacked with you. And then your Doom can also play somewhere else that's not directly stacked with you, and it's good, right? If your Doom's playing here, right? I mean, he can kind of directly stack with you because if he's here and you're here and they're pushing up here, you can just go in behind them, right? He just kind of wants to be close to where the fight's going to be, right? He can also set up over here and accomplish the same thing, right? But as long as your team is set up to fight around you, you shouldn't be backing in this direction because this is the direction of your team, right? You actually want to back up away from your team,
Okay, yeah, I think I end up doing that.
right? Because like with burst again, right? How does this work, right? You back up away from your team, right? You draw the Rein out, and then he dies, right? I mean, initially you walked in because you're trying to die, and then you realized it's winnable, so you backed up. But other than that, but like again, like with here, you back up this way because that's not in the direction of your team, right? Because your team, in terms of like team, it's like your core, right? Your BAP, your Zarya, right? They're here, right? So when you back up, you want to back up here because that's away from your team, right? You create natural splits when you do this, right? You back up into a concave, right? As opposed to backing up and creating a line, right? Does it make sense?
At this point, I didn't even realize our like both our supports one card.
Yeah. So this is really awkward. So this is probably why
Yeah.
you're gonna die here in about 2 seconds. But in an ideal world, right? You want to back up away from your team to create concaves. Especially important against Mei, by the way. Hey, you lived! Alright, back up, give up the high ground. Yes, yes. We should try and help your Doom. Fine, okay. Then why is backing up to this corner good if you expect to get pushed?
I mean, the same thing as the top. I have like there's only one angle, and they can like our team is another angle, so they can.
Yeah, you
cross.
backed up away from your team, so when they push, right, your team shoots them for free,
Yeah.
right? It's that simple, right? That's why these spots are strong. half the game is just learning to identify this, which is why backing up here is kind of questionable because you spent shield and you didn't have to, right? You're fine here, right? All right. So when you walk forward and Nin bubbles you like this, you gotta stop and start walking backward. Because you just know that Nin just burned both of his bubbles, right? And they're all set up on these giant concaves, and you have no resources to push anymore, right? So at this point, when you burn a bubble like this, your immediate reaction should be, can we bait and engage and then back out, right? Because Nin
Try to
just
like force some cooldowns from there on, and just try to like get away. live.
yeah, you want to bait them ideally into ulting, but if they spend cooldowns chasing you and you back up cleanly, right, and then come back in, right, that's not bad, right? But Nin just burned both cooldowns greedily for energy, right? He's greeding really hard, so you need to be really patient here, right? And you can't just walk in and expect this to be okay, because your team's about to get mowed down. Yeah, like your team is just dying left, right, and center.
That's turning.
Yeah, that's fine. I generally encourage living, but if like you don't think you can live, like trying to die is fine as well, and maybe get a kill while you're at it. Oh, Junkrat's flanking. Alright, bubble.
So, wait, I have a question right
Yep.
here. So like, in that case, like a DPS is like over there, right? How should we like address it? Do we just ignore him?
No.
Like we can see him like peek if there's like a McCree there, just trying to like early shots.
So
As they're coming out.
it depends on what your plan is, right? So if you're more or less already set up and the McCree's just kind of peeking, you can kind of just go this way and know that you can win high ground control because they're down on McCree, right?
Okay.
Or you can, if you have fast heroes that can chase him down, you can attempt to chase him down and kill him, right? Or if you want to play for like less for high ground control and more for the right room control, right? You could just like have your Rein stay here and then everyone else pretty much go this way, clear this part of the map, right? And then reconnect with your Rein here, right? And then from here you can make decisions whether or not you want to try and like walk the cart around the high ground, or walk towards the high ground from where you're at, right?
Makes sense.
Yeah, there's a bunch of stuff you can do. It just needs to be cohesive, right?
Mm-hmm.
So this is kind of questionable because your bubble just expired. You're still trying to trade with the Rein. Nice try. Hey, you're invincible to tire. So what? You're 2-0 against tires right now.
Wait, I actually don't think I died to tire the whole time, but everyone else dies to tire.
Hey. I mean, so far you've
So-
taken 2 tires that were meant for you.
So like right before this fight, should I just be pushing card like this, or like, should I
You're
be
down a
trying to
lot.
Go for high ground?
Yeah, you're down a lot right now. So push card as far as you reasonably can, and then bail, right? And then from there you retake high ground, or bail to this part of the map, right? Wait for your team, wait for your BAP, right? And then as he comes out over here, right, you just you shield him and then push high ground this way, right? So this is fine, right? You could even greedy a little bit harder than this, push the card as much as you can, and as soon as they like start trying to think about fighting, you back up into like this room or something, right? And then reconnect with your team and just play safe, right? But yeah, don't need to take high ground, especially when like they have more stuff than you. So this is bad, right? Do you say you're walking forward to trade?
Yeah.
This needs to be like backing up and playing it slow, waiting for your BAP, right? Because your BAP is like 90% of your team's healing, at least. You actually get a really good trade with him. Holy crap! This is an example of what we call a bad drop from the enemy team. A team also does this a lot, unfortunately. Because he's dropping, what is the rest of his team doing, right? They're all stacked.
There.
No one can see anything, and they're not taking angles, right? So Zarya isn't like over here. McCree isn't over here, right? Shooting as a result, like he drops, and everyone on your team is shooting him, right? More or less, right? You have 3 people, right? Well, that's more than he does, right? And his team is kind of shooting Lucio, right? So like you get so far ahead in this trade is actually kind of crazy, right? But that's not something you should normally expect from a team that's dropping, right? You should expect more cohesion. You force out a lamp. This is your ideal time, right? As soon as you win this clash right here, right? Instead of backing up this way, you want to back up this way and try and get your team to like start going like either with you or around, right? To start recontesting high ground, right? Because the Rein just dropped, and he's not likely to get back to high ground anytime soon, right?
It's true.
Oh, don't push it! Don't push it! That Fire Strike's so greedy! Oh, and you died for it.
Yeah.
Why does every Rein feel like they can Fire Strike a corner safely? They all do, and they always die. We had a big problem in Goats actually, where Isaac would like have Discord on him, and he would like Fire Strike like the corner every time, and he would eat a 5 orb and die. It was so consistent actually, it was insane.
You underestimate the damage.
Yeah, I mean it's a window. Any damage you take through a window is big, you know?
Yeah.
Plus you weren't even full health. We like in the Isaac VOD, he peeked a window for a Fire Strike and took over 300 damage, right? Like it's just what happens when you peek windows. Corners are safe places, it's just not against windows, right? I mean they are safe, just like don't peek them, you know? But that's my chat. Alright, we're grouping up, we're walking out. Nice. That bubble is very early again, so be prepared to back up if they rush at you, right? So this is a very, like, rushed engage, because you don't have bubbles, right?
Well, you don't have bubbles.
So
yeah.
this guy is also being dumb, and he's about to grab. So this should be, like, everyone trying to move back sign already, right? What? Why would he do that? Look at this Zarya. I want to get some energy. What's up, guys?
Dude, I don't think that's smart. Yeah. I
Oh
mean,
my
they
God.
still win the fight.
I mean, this is like a rough situation to push into. Plus, you have no bubble, right? It's kind of hard.
Yeah.
And ideally, again, when you're pushing this, right, what do you want to have happening at the same time?
Team taking angles.
Team taking angles, right? So your Doomfist needs to be over here, probably, or like I don't know. I don't know Doomfist rollouts. He, like, what's his name again?
Reese.
Reese would know better than me.
Yeah, he's actually cracked on the Doomfist rollouts.
Yeah, he would know better than me how to get there, right? But you need to wait for him to get set up, right? You need to wait for your Ashe to start taking tank or something, right? Or like playing really wide and threatening the McCree or something, right? But until that happens, you cannot push, right? Or also like you're just foreheading down into a choke and everyone's gonna die, right?
I think like we could have had our Ashe like played out to the right, like bottom right there. Like,
Yeah, exactly, right? She can play out here,
Yeah.
she can play up here, she can do a whole bunch of stuff, but you want to time taking corners, taking angles while this is going on, right? So if you're playing wide, super wide, you're a bit greedier and you're expecting her to get more pressure before you actually push, right? But she can also just like as you push, jump up top of tank, and now she has free reign for at least 3 to 4 shots, right? And if your Ashe is good, this could be a dead McCree, it could be a dead BAP, it could be like them team backing because they're all on fire, right? There's a lot of good things that can happen from taking this at the same time, right? But the important thing is that's happening while this is going on and your Ashe isn't sitting here AFK, right? So you gotta be patient with this, when this is going on, right? I don't know what happened, but you died.
I got pooped by a Junkrat mine.
Yeah, it looked like there was just a million things, colors flying around, so I'll just leave it at that. But again, it always gets messy when you try to push like this. And how does Jason kill people, right? It's because he flanked, right?
Yeah.
It's because he flanked, right? So again, you want to wait on your
Perfect
push
gauge.
until he can flank, right?
Yeah.
Because he went around this way, which is totally fine, right? I think. I hope he did that. I don't think he just like went to the choke and jumped over the side, but you know it's possible. But again, he gets kills because he flanks. So just wait for him to flank, right? And Jason, if you're here, like, you better say it. That you're flanking. But yeah. I don't think Jason's here. I think he's playing Valheim, but. Alright, Lucio's dead. But you know they're all low ground, so you can actually beat them to high ground right now.
Yeah, that's what we were thinking.
Yeah, you can't stop though, you can't stop.
But
You gotta keep going. Right.
I didn't see anyone else come, so I just stopped. I think that's what it like fucked up because
Yeah, because if
I was
you
stuck in the chairs then.
if they get set, you're kind of screwed, right? So
Yeah.
you kind of just have to keep going and hope that your team gets there fast enough. If your goal is to race them high ground, otherwise now like your situation where they're all here, right? And your situation does not change, right? Again, super early bubbles, right? That's okay. Especially if they're already set, right? Okay. Hey, we live another one. 3-0. Alright, well we die afterward. We're still taking that as win against the Junkrat. Clearly, you're much better than this junk.
He's getting the value tire though. He's getting sports with it.
It doesn't matter. You're not dying. You're 3-0 against this tire. Again, super rush. You're not actually in contact with the enemy team. Your team has no angles. This is a really questionable beat, right? Beat engage. You're just gonna get through the choke. You're gonna lose all your HP in about 3 seconds. That's not you. And then the engage is gonna fall apart. And now you guys are full retreat. The lamp doesn't last. You guys die, right? Like it's literally the same thing over and over again at this point. Not really specific to you, right? But it is team centric, and you have a lot of control over that, right?
Yeah, yeah.
All right, we're mixing up the approach. I like it.
10 seconds.
It was like 8 seconds of just running down.
So when this is going on, right, your team needs to be like taking angles and stuff like that, and it shouldn't be just you and card. Sorry, should not be here. Sorry, should be like here, playing safe, right, trying to help you out, and then you need to get ready to run, right? As like you either play here and get ready to run this way, or you play here directly under them and try to run this way, right? And then your Zarya plays a spot where she can help you on either side, right? And then your BAP like can play here as well, right? And he can help you, right? And this is probably the safer spot. But if you get from here, you can pretty easily run over here and get help, right? Especially if your Zarya is waiting here to help you out, right? But you need, I know you need a touch, right? But if all your eggs are on cart when you're touching, right, everyone's just gonna die together, right? Provide in. Hey, 3-0 still. Alright, I gotta go in a sec. So for your offensive Rein, I guess that's all we went over. Be really careful about the way you push, right? And the timing you push. Because it needs to be paired with action elsewhere, especially if you're not playing a hard rush. Even hard rushes, you want to set up angles, then go, right? So it's just like a lot faster, right? So if you're playing like a Mei Reaper, right? Sure you'd push this, really dumb, aggressive, right? But you want to pair that with a Reaper like walking this way and then teleporting up, right? So angles are still really important. You just like the timing just changes depending on what kind of comp you're playing. So it's really important that you play patiently enough for your angles to get set up, right? Ask your team what angles are going to take, right? Your Doom, like when he needs to get set up, when your Ashe, where she's going to go, right? Et cetera, right? If they're already telling you, you need to listen to them, and base your timing based on that. Also tell Nin to stop bubbling so early, unless he's specifically telling you to get charged for him, right? And then again, always try to create situations where you're off angling from your team. Not always, but like especially against Mei, it makes it a lot easier. And whenever you these are typically like carry positions, right? Because if you're playing here and that Rein tries to do anything, he's usually dying, right? The Rein you play here, you just backed up this way, your Rein dies, right? When you back up, try not to back up towards your team, right? You don't always have to play a different angle from your team, right? But if when you back up, you want to create like concaves, right? So if your team's not creating concaves for you, you need to do that the way you back up, right? Does that make sense?
Yep.
All
Definitely.
right.
All right. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Hope that's helpful.
Yep.
All right.
See you next time.
Yep.
Bye-bye.
See ya. Alright, I'm gonna end the stream here. I'll get to yours later. I'm not really sure when I'm gonna stream next, but it'll be soon-ish. I'm on spring break now, so I have time. And I'll get to yours, Mad Dog. Yeah, thanks everyone for watching, for tuning in. We're 7 followers away from being able to get channel points. Yeah, I'll see you guys later.